Hello and welcome. This session is to let you get to know me, your instructor, a little bit more, and to give you some feeling of what I'm expecting from you and what I'll be going to be providing for you through the rest of this class. So, since there's nobody else here to do it, let me introduce myself. My name's Tony. You are welcome to refer to me by that, just Tony is fine, or whatever honor you prefer. Some prefer professor, some prefer sir, which is wonderful. My favorite title I've ever had was I was on the Historic Preservation Commission, in which case I could be referred to in the notes as Commissioner Lowe, and I was looking forward to being able to get access to the bat signal, but different type of commissioner. Anyway, there's two things I want to introduce to you here, and something I'd like to hear about you as well, is technically speaking, and I do mean literally, why are you here? What technology background brings you here? Do you have a technology background or not? Either way is interesting. That's something that's really helpful for me as an instructor to be able to know where you guys are coming in. Let me talk about things that might be of particular interest to you, or maybe just be able to speed up or slow down different parts because of where you might be coming from or where you might want some more advanced or maybe some more help on some of the different areas. And then what are you into overall? You might not think that we care about that, but I really do enjoy hearing your interests and finding out common things and sharing maybe a little tip about a video game or a little jibe about a sports team or something like that. And we'll get back to that in a second. So the reason they let me teach here, this is where I kind of start. My undergraduate degree is in electrical engineering, and then I went and got a master's in information technology. I'm currently working on a PhD in engineering education. And so beyond that, I've worked for the last 19 and very soon to be 20 years as a professional coder. I started teaching a long time ago, around 2000 was when I became a Sun certified Java instructor. I had taught a little bit before that, and have taught on and off. I counted the other day, it's 37 different classes that I've either built and or taught throughout the last 20 years that I've been doing this stuff. As a professional, though, where I've spent most of my time, I started in embedded systems. I'd worked in GPS, I'd worked on the 767-400 cockpit displays, and in theory still have a code running around on a satellite somewhere, assuming it's still up there. And that was a really great start to my career. It was a really interesting challenge, but I moved more into traditional IT stuff when I moved to the Chicago area. And so from there I worked in payment systems. I had a system that literally dealt with $1 trillion a year of payments. And then have done health insurance and have done open source stuff and done government systems and all sorts of different systems inside of that. And then, built some games, some websites, other fun stuff like that along the way. So both professionally and also as a volunteer and just for fun, I've done all sorts of technology stuff. I hope to be able to bring some of that to you here. I hope to be able to tell some stories and share some ideas, and also maybe beyond just whatever the subject matter is of technology or process or whatever we're talking about, maybe we can talk about your career and where it's going to go. So feel free to ask those types of questions as well. Now, a little bit more about me. I am a big sports fan. Chicago guy pretty much all my life, so big fan of Bears, Cubs, Bulls. Wasn't a bad year this year. Bears are doing okay right now. But past that, in college, I kind of transitioned more where I played volleyball and ultimate frisbee. I've played competitive ultimate frisbee all my life, on and off. Even played in the Grandmasters, national tournament this last year, which was a lot of fun. And I've been playing volleyball here now that I'm back in school as part of the intramurals. So really try and keep up with that. Also a bit of a geek. All the things you see inside of here. I'm really super excited for the next Star Wars. I tear up at every commercial. Big Firefly, all the stuff you see there. I do love games, both video and board. I'm actually going to be playing Battlefront here, and have played Star Wars games up and down, but also play all sorts of different video games, Steam and different things. So if you're a gamer, we definitely have some stuff we might run across there. And then the last thing I'll throw out there is the last 5 years I've been rehabbing my house. I bought a house that was originally built in 1890 and have been fixing that back up. So everything from electrical, plumbing, drywall, tile, masonry, you name it, we've done it in the house. So that's a little bit about me. And as I said, I want to know that about you, and where I'm going to find out about that is in the discussion board. You're going to introduce yourself, and you're going to tell me about these things. That's what I want to know. Now, just to know, you don't have to rewrite it. Many of you reuse your discussion board for the introduction. That's totally fine. I don't care about the OV score, the originality score on that, because let's say you totally plagiarized that. That's pretty awesome that you have somebody else who's written about you do an introduction. So I'll forgive that here. I just ask maybe you look it over, make sure it's applicable. I mean, if you wrote it your second class and this is your 19th class, revisit it. I want to know more about you because remember, the more I know, the better I can hopefully customize this to you. And so in general, on the discussion boards, write plenty, respond plenty, cite things as appropriate if you're going to be reusing somebody's sources, and then try and be on time. The policy now dictates that you need to be on time with the discussion board. We want to interact in the week that's going on. So even if you have other stuff going on, try and stop by the discussion board and at least interact with your peers. So that's kind of an introduction to our expectations. Let's dive more into that. IT topics require us to communicate. It's a job where you might say, I want to be technical, but we communicate a lot when we build IT systems. How we communicate is going to be preference for you. If we get together and communicate, that's great. If we do it completely via email, offline, that's fine too. You just need to plan out your time so you know that I can be available. Generally speaking, I'm going to be responding to you within 24 hours because email is really the most common path and it's the best common first path. I check it at least every 18 hours, certainly normally more than like every 8 hours or so. And I'll generally respond to you right away if you have a question. If you just give me some information like, hey, by the way, my assignment's turned in, I don't reply to all those emails because I get a lot of them, and I see that in the system as well. So I'll just go and grade stuff as it comes around. But you feel free to email me, and if we need to escalate, we will. Now, instant message is always fine. If you see me in the course room, you see my icon lit up, feel free to message me. But I will warn you, often I'll be on, but not on this computer. I work at home, and my job. Sometimes I'll be logged in the morning for school stuff, and then I'll go to work stuff, and I won't be looking at the screen. I'm not ignoring you. If I'm busy, and pretty much the only time I am busy enough that I can't talk to you is when I'm teaching a class, I'll let you know that. So just feel free to IM me. Feel free to email me. When I say phone, my preference is normally to escalate to a shared space where we can also share screens because we want to talk about very specific stuff. We want to talk about what your work is and what you're working on. And that's always an option. Share a screen, talk about what you're working on. But just know, we need to plan and we need to communicate. So as you come forward and email me, try and give me as much information as you can. Tell me what's going on, what you're struggling with, what your questions are. The more detailed you are the first time, the more likely I can give you an answer right away or escalate appropriately from there. So the live chats that will come up, and it's very different now. They're letting us do some of these recorded ones up front and then focusing those live chats to be more interactive. And I've always done it this way, so always think of the live chats as times where you can come and ask questions. I want you to bring your questions. I want to talk through the assignments. I want to be specific and detailed in those assignments. So I will cover the core materials and through recorded lectures and also the ones online. So they're definitely worth watching. I'm going to give you as much specific detail about how to do your assignments as I can inside of there. So they're definitely worth watching inside of there. But past that, it's a place where we can be interactive. And let's say you can't make any of the live chats. You've got a work schedule, you got other limitations. Just email me your questions there and say, talk about this in chat. Or email me your question on your homework and say, talk about this in chat. And I can expand more than I could maybe in a couple minute response to an email. I can talk about it. I can show you things that you wouldn't be able to see otherwise. So just remember, that's always a resource you can use. Now, the discussion boards are definitely going to be a little bit different too in our new format because you'll see instructors across the boards, and me in particular here, in the discussion boards a bit more often. I'm going to try and give you some tips out there, and it's the same types of tips I would have got for you in grading, but the idea is to get it to you a little bit sooner. I want to give you some feedback so you can maybe act on it. So remember, in discussion boards, I'm not looking for you to get the right answer right away. I'm looking for you to get the right answer by the end of the session. So if you put something in a discussion board and it's wrong, that's okay. I'll say, by the way, go check on this or go fix this, and then fix it and get it done by Sunday. I would rather you make mistakes in the discussion board and correct them before we get to the end of class and be right than to be conservative, not say anything interesting, and then make mistakes when you get to your interview. In an interview situation, the person's not going to give you feedback. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and they've said completely wrong things, and I've smiled and said, thank you for coming, it was so great, nice to talk to you, and then not hired them. And because it's not an interviewer's job to give you feedback about being smarter, but that's my job here. I get to give you feedback about how you can be a better technologist and go forward from there. So across the board, short discussion boards aren't good. Short responses aren't good. Long doesn't mean good either. It's deep that's we're looking for that's good. I want you to talk about the subject matter. Whatever we're talking about in this course, talk about that. I don't care about formatting. I don't care about spelling. I don't care about title headers. I don't care about APA outside of citations. I want you to be talking about whatever information technology topics we're talking about in this class. There's so many different topics we could be talking about. That's what I want you to be talking about. That's what I want you to focus on. So prove that you can, in everything you write, you can be shown as an expert in this, or at least learning on this. If you don't know it all yet, that's okay. Show me what you're learning. Don't just say, wow, this looks great. Spend the time to tell why it looks great. Back up your thoughts and say, this looks great because. Why am I supposed to believe you? You're just a student in a class. So show me why I'm supposed to believe you. Show me how great you are and how clever you are and how you can talk about this stuff. Now, there's an expectations document out there in the course. It'll talk more about grading. A few things I want to mention. So again, discussion boards have to be completed in the week they're started. You can't go back, especially on the responses, and make those up later on. Everything needs to be more or less on time. That new discussion, the new late policy really means you have to get stuff done within a week or so. You can't wait till the end of class. So if you have some issues, let's talk about them early on. Don't wait until the end of class to sort that out. I have some flexibility, but not a ton of it anymore. They're really starting to change inside of there. As far as late work goes, with the new course room out there, I generally will go through and grade anything that's late. I stayed out there to say, please email me. It's out there. That's less important now, but if you're not seeing a grade after about 5 days, you go ahead and follow up. I don't look every day, did somebody turn something in? I look after I do the weekly assignment. So if things are due on Monday, I'll grade them maybe by Wednesday, and then either Wednesday or Thursday you'll get anything late that's been updated as well. So if you don't turn in something late till Friday, it might be until the next Wednesday or Thursday that it gets graded. But certainly within a week, anything that's late should be graded. So if it's past, again, 5 days, so certainly past a week, feel free to remind me, because there are technical glitches. Sometimes you turn something in, but it doesn't show up properly. That happened in the first quarter that everything was released. I should be fixed now. But if you're not sure, go ahead and let me know. Here's the thing. If you turned it in on time or slightly late, I don't care if I missed it. You're not going to be penalized by that. As long as it's turned in by the end of the course and it was turned in the time frame of the late policy, I'm glad to go off and fix that and grade it. I'm not going to hold you accountable. I have no trouble changing a grade and updating a grade. Don't feel like it has to be a battle inside of there. If it's all justified, we'll make it happen. But I do have to conform to the late policy, so I need you to be proactive and let me know what's going on that. All right, so past that, not much to know. We are going to have a great session. We're going to talk through this stuff. We're going to put a lot of stuff out there. Just remember, this stuff is not always written up clearly. You don't always understand how's it going to be graded, and that's what I'm going to be doing here in chats. I'll have some notes out there. There'll be assignments, descriptions of the assignments and announcements out there. That'll help a little bit, but you will see stuff if you come to whatever the recordings are, either recorded already or come into the chats. You'll always hear me talk about what you're expected to turn in. How you're being assessed in the class is really important for you to understand and for you to get feedback on, and I will promise you that I'll be giving you that feedback here. So it's worth the time to check in on this stuff. Watch the recordings if you can't be there live. If you can be there live, great. I'm not super strict about any of that stuff. I mean, if you don't watch any of it and do well in the class, that's totally fine by me. But just know, if you're struggling, go and watch these recordings, and they'll hopefully help you out, or come live. All right, so best of luck in the class. I'm so looking forward to meeting you further, and hopefully we'll have a great session and be done before you know it.